Hey Jason, I'm an intermediate lifter and I have a lift that isn't going up. It's been stuck for months, and it'll be something like their squat, their bench press, their overhead press, whatever. It will be some lift, and it might not be a 1 rep max. It might be their 5 rep sets, their 3 rep sets, whatever. They're stuck. They're not improving. And they want to know what to do about it. Well, I can tell you guys with almost absolute certainty, barring some exceptions, which I'll give in a minute, it's because you are not gaining muscle. Okay, you are not gaining muscle. You are not getting adequate training, rest, or nutrition in some way that is preventing you from gaining muscle and the primary movers or the weak links to that lift. Okay, that's what's going on. Now, why could that be? It could be for a whole host of reasons. We'll jump into a minute to the training side. Because most intermediates try to train like novices and then wonder why they don't grow. Well, because you're not a novice anymore. Quit training like one. Quit thinking like a novice. But it could be lifestyle factors. In fact, I had a guy do one of my 1-hour consultations at one time that it turned out that his marriage situation was absolutely interfering with his ability to make progress. His stress was through the roof. It was impacting his sleep without giving any of the details of it, but his sleep was severely compromised as a result of the situation that he was going through in his personal life. Well, when that's happening, you should expect to regress. Like, not just stall, but if you're going through major life situations that are now interfering with your sleep, you can forget progressing till you sort those things out. You will be lucky if all your lifts don't go down 10 or 20 pounds. You'll be very lucky. Stress and poor sleep combined together are gains goblins, right? That's a gains goblin. That will destroy and eat and ruin your gains. You will lose progress. You'll lose progress. You'll be very, very lucky in those sort of situations to keep what you have. Forget making gains. So you have to get those things sorted. But we come back over to other things. Nutrition, all right? And I'm not saying everyone has the bulk to make gains, but you better be at least at caloric maintenance. And if you're trying to make gains at calorie maintenance, your diet better be good. I'm not talking about novice lifters. I'm not talking about guys who squat 225 and bench 140 for reps, okay? I'm talking about people who are now true intermediates. Well, if you think you're going to gain significant muscle, which is required to gain strength, on caloric maintenance, you better have a pretty good diet. Okay? That will affect your recovery. It will affect nutrient partitioning. If you're trying to do flexible dieting to where 30% of your calories come from Pop-Tarts or ice cream and you just throw in a multi, well, don't complain if nutrition is inadequate to fuel significant muscle growth without a calorie surplus. Okay, your nutrition is bad. And I don't care what your favorite Fit Pro or Instagram person does. Trend helps them a lot. Okay, the reason they get away with making continual gains at maintenance with bad diets, it's because of trend. They're not natural. Quit buying into that bullshit. If you do, you're naive or you're stupid. Now, back over to the point. Diet better be good. A lot of people say, well, could it be technique? Well, if you've made it to being an intermediate and you don't have technical proficiency at your lifts, you need to go ahead and hire a coach, okay? Because that's a problem. I'll tell you right now, if you are an intermediate lifter and you haven't figured out how to squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press correctly, to the point to where you're not getting stronger with them due to bad form, you need to hire a coach, or at the very least hire a form coach. I charge $75 an hour for consultations. A lot of people in one consultation, I can clean their form up. They have form videos. You need to hire somebody then, if that's your problem. And assuming it isn't The only other thing that's happening is that you are just not gaining enough muscle because your training itself could be bad. Right? Intermediate lifters have to get out of the novice mindset. What makes novices grow? Moderate volume to low volume, high frequency, big movements, progressive overload. Okay? Novice lifters, we teach them to think, add weight to the bar every workout. Okay? You'll grow off just squats. You'll grow off the bench press. You don't need supplemental work. You don't need a lot of volume. You just have to keep adding weight to the bar. Intermediate lifters, and this is the problem I run into when I coach intermediates, get hung up in that mindset that if they don't add weight all the time, that they're not making gains. Training volume and tension are adequate. That's not necessary. Okay? I can keep an intermediate lifter at the same weight on the bar and same general rep ranges for 3 workouts, and they'll still make gains. They'll gain muscle off of it if stimulus is adequate. Problem is that these programs are inappropriate usually from a stimulus to fatigue ratio. Okay? My novice programs, starting strength, strong lifts, all right, all these classic programs, they're not intended for intermediate lifters. The exercise selection is too low. We're generally focusing on the lifts that stimulate the most muscle growth per set. They're big exercises. They're exercises in which we generally can't tolerate high volumes of training. Because a novice doesn't need high volumes of training. We just need to hit big lifts and stack weight on the bar with just enough volume to keep them growing. The intermediate lifters have to start adding supplemental work. Okay? For an intermediate lifter, just bench pressing probably isn't going to be enough to maximize chest and tricep growth. Okay? Your lower body might need more than just the back squat and the deadlift. And for the record, I don't use any of those templates for even my novice clients. Why would we? I can optimize it based on where they're at. I throw in supplemental work. People say, why don't you prescribe all the supplemental work to novice lifters? Because you tell novice lifters they can do supplemental work, that means all they're going to do is curls, which is not going to help them in any way. It might give them an extra 1/16 of an inch to their bicep in their first 6 months, maybe. Okay, and it might. Not going to do anything else for them. And they're going to pick stupid curl exercises, and they're going to get tendonitis in their arms, and then they're going to want to quit deadlifting because it hurts when they pull. It's going to start hurting when they try to low bar squat because their elbows are going to hurt, and then they're going to quit squatting because they perform stupid ass variations of the curl. Okay, that's why. But yeah, we can give this stuff to novices, but as an intermediate lifter, you have to learn to start finding your weak links, and you're going to have to do some volume for them. Okay, as an intermediate, if your hamstrings are limiting your deadlift, you're going to have to do some direct hamstring work. I don't care if it's a glute ham raise or reverse hyper or a hamstring curl machine. You have to do something. Okay, if your bench press or your overhead press is stalling because your triceps are too weak, you're going to have to do some tricep work. If your bench is stalling at the bottom and the pause bench alone isn't doing it, you're going to have to do some floor press. You're going to have to do some dumbbell presses. You're going to have to do some supplemental work. You're going to have to stimulate hypertrophy. You're going to need more volume for your weaker links. Because our classic lifts are inherently unbalanced in the distribution of the load among these different muscles. Okay, they don't always fully activate every muscle involved in that big lift. They might get only, if you take those to your limit sets, you might only get 70 or 80% of your minimum effective volume at a certain point for some of the muscles involved. They're going to need more work. And you're going to have to find work that doesn't cause irritation. You're going to have some variation to avoid overuse. keeps your tendonitis lower, keeps your injury risk lower. Okay? You're going to have to train more. You're going to have to train more. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.